Welcome. You've just begun The Art of Letting Go, a 30-day program to release what's lost and embrace forward motion by Simo Ben. This is not a book about forgetting the past or forcing yourself to move on. It's a compassionate, structured journey through grief, healing, and emotional rebirth. Whether you're coping with the end of a relationship, the loss of a dream, the passing of a loved one, or simply feeling weighed down by invisible burdens, this program is your companion. Over the next 30 days, you'll walk step by step through powerful reflections and gentle exercises designed to help you understand the depth of your loss, rebuild your identity, release what no longer serves you, and step forward with clarity, courage, and renewed purpose. Each day offers a focused theme, from naming your loss and releasing regret to rediscovering your strengths and reopening your heart. There's no pressure to be strong, no expectation to have it all figured out. This journey welcomes you exactly as you are, tired, numb, angry, hopeful, uncertain, or quietly determined. Healing happens not in grand breakthroughs, but in small, honest decisions, in moments of clarity, in letting go just a little more than the day before. So take a breath. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're rebuilding. And this, right now, is where your forward motion begins. Presented by Mastery Books, guiding you toward deeper understanding, inner strength, and lasting transformation. Let's begin. Introduction. Letting go is not forgetting. It is not erasing, replacing, or pretending that the past didn't shape you. Letting go is the quiet, courageous decision to stop carrying what was never meant to be carried forever. And if you're holding this book, you've likely reached a moment where the weight has become too heavy to ignore. Loss comes in many forms. The death of someone you love, the end of a relationship you believed would last, the collapse of a dream you built your identity around, a life transition that demanded more than you felt ready to give. Sometimes loss is sudden and shattering. Other times it is slow and silent, slipping through the cracks of your daily life until one day you wake up and realize something important is gone. Whatever your loss looks like, one truth remains. The world does not give us a manual for moving forward. We're told to stay strong, move on, put it behind you, or be grateful for what you had. But none of these phrases explain how to actually do any of that. Healing becomes a blurry, unstructured hope instead of a clear path. And so we carry our pain. We hide it. We negotiate with it. We let it dictate the shape of our days. We try to rush the process or avoid it entirely. This book is not here to pressure you into moving on before you are ready. It is here to offer you something far more valuable, a structured, compassionate way forward, a guided 30-day process designed to help you acknowledge your experience, release the attachments that keep you stuck, and build a life that honors your loss without being ruled by it. You do not have to have everything figured out to begin this program. You do not need to feel strong, motivated, or clear-minded. You may feel tired, numb, angry, resentful, hopeful, or uncertain. All of it is welcome. This book is built for real humans with real pain, not idealized versions of ourselves who always bounce back. Over the next 30 days, you will take small, manageable steps, daily reflections, gentle challenges, grounding practices, and emotional shifts that gradually create momentum. The days are intentionally short. Healing rarely happens through one dramatic breakthrough. It happens in steady, honest decisions, in moments of clarity, in letting go a little more than the day before. This journey will ask you to face things you've avoided, release beliefs that no longer serve you, and open space for a new chapter to emerge. That might sound overwhelming, but I want you to remember something. You've already survived the hardest part. The loss has already happened. What comes next is rebuilding, slowly, patiently, with intention and self-respect. Letting go is not the end of love, meaning, or memory. It is the beginning of reclaiming your life. It is the shift from being defined by what happened to being shaped by what you choose next. You deserve a future that is not overshadowed by yesterday. You deserve the freedom that comes when the weight you've carried finally begins to lighten. Take a breath. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're rebuilding. And this is where your forward motion begins. Day 1. Naming what was lost. Loss is rarely simple, and it is almost never just one event. What you lost is more than the moment everything changed. You didn't just lose a person, a relationship, a dream, a job, or a version of stability. You lost the pieces of yourself that were woven into that part of your life. You lost expectations you were quietly building, routines that shaped your days, the emotional landscape you were familiar with, and futures you once believed were guaranteed. Most people try to heal without ever truly defining what they lost. They try to move on while carrying a weight they've never looked at directly, and the result is a kind of emotional fog. They feel stuck without understanding why. They feel heavy without knowing what the heaviness is made of. Day 1 is the foundation of your entire 30-day program because clarity is the beginning of release. You cannot let go of something you have not accurately named. Today is about truth, the unfiltered, unpolished truth of what disappeared from your life when your loss occurred. It might be uncomfortable, but honesty is the doorway to healing, not a threat to it. When people describe their loss, they often give the shortest version possible. I lost my partner. I lost my mother. I lost my relationship. I lost the life I thought I'd have. These sentences are true, but they are incomplete. Beneath them is an entire landscape of secondary losses, parts of your world that collapsed silently in the background while you were focused on the primary event. Losing a person may also mean losing companionship, safety, daily rituals, a sense of being understood without explanation, or a role you played that gave your day structure. Losing a relationship might also mean losing future plans, emotional intimacy, financial stability, shared friends, or the sense of having someone who sees you. Losing a dream can feel like losing direction, motivation, or belief in your ability to shape your life. These deeper losses matter just as much as the obvious one, and often they're the ones that hurt the longest because they remain unnamed. Today, you begin bringing those hidden layers into the light, not to overwhelm yourself, but to finally understand what your heart has been trying to process on its own. Take a quiet moment and ask yourself, what exactly did I lose? Let the answer extend beyond the surface-level explanation. Maybe you lost certainty, and now everything feels unstable. Maybe you lost innocence, the belief that life unfolds predictably or fairly. Maybe you lost trust in your own judgment. Maybe you lost a sense of identity or belonging. Perhaps you lost confidence, motivation, joy, or the version of yourself that felt safe in the world. Some losses are intangible but devastating. The ability to relax, the belief that things work out, the vision of a future that once felt solid. Allow whatever arises to be honest and unfiltered. There is no weakness in telling the truth about what hurts. Naming loss is an act of empowerment. It takes courage to face the invisible weight you've been carrying, and once it has shape, you can finally begin to reshape your life around it, instead of letting it silently control you. One of the greatest obstacles in healing is the tendency to minimize pain. You might have told yourself, others have it worse, or I should be over this by now, or it wasn't that big a deal. You might have convinced yourself that acknowledging your grief would make you dramatic or needy. These beliefs don't protect you, they trap you. Loss that is minimized cannot be released. Pain that is dismissed does not disappear. It simply sinks deeper and becomes harder to understand. Today is about giving yourself permission. Permission to tell the truth without judging it. Permission to feel without arguing with your feelings. Permission to say, this hurt me, even if no one else fully understands why. Healing begins when you stop comparing your pain to anyone else's and honor your experience exactly as it is. As you reflect on what you've lost, you may also notice the presence of conflicting emotions. Loss is rarely clean. You can grieve something and still feel relief. You can feel love and anger at the same time. You can miss someone who hurt you. You can long for something you know wasn't healthy. These contradictions do not make you confused or broken. They make you human. Emotional complexity is normal. In fact, acknowledging it is essential. Too many people try to force their pain into a single category, but the truth is far messier than that. Your loss may contain beautiful memories and painful ones. It may contain joy, regret, gratitude, guilt, longing, and resentment all at once. Instead of trying to simplify what you feel, let yourself hold the complexity. Healing doesn't come from narrowing your emotions. It comes from understanding them. Today's exercise is simple but powerful. Write down everything you lost, not just the primary loss, but every secondary loss attached to it. Write without editing, without logic. without worrying whether what you write makes sense. List the obvious. There are several common emotional loops you might be experiencing. The first is the what-if loop, the mind exploring infinite versions of the past to find the one that hurts least. What if I had acted sooner? What if I had said something different? What if I had seen the signs? What if I didn't walk away? What if I had tried one more time? These questions feel productive, but they aren't. The past is fixed. The alternatives you imagine are illusions. What-ifs trap you in possibilities instead of reality. Another common loop is the why loop, the search for explanations, motives, or meaning in something that may never be fully understood. Why did this happen? Why did they leave? Why didn't things turn out differently? Why couldn't I stop it? These questions have no satisfying answers. And even if you did find an answer, it would not change what happened. The mind repeats them not because answers exist, but because uncertainty is uncomfortable. Breaking the why loop is not about finding answers. It's about accepting that some questions will remain unanswered. There is also the memory loop, where painful or significant moments replay without your permission. Sometimes the memory returns because it holds unresolved emotion. Sometimes it returns simply because the mind associates it with the loss. Memory loops can be the hardest because they feel involuntary. You don't choose to relive the moment. You are pulled into it. But even memory loops can be softened when you learn to approach them with awareness instead of resistance. Perhaps the most draining loop is the self-blame loop, the internal replay of mistakes, perceived failures, or moments you wish you could redo. Self-blame loops are fueled by distortion, by the belief that you had more control than you did. They are punishing, relentless, and emotionally harmful. Breaking self-blame loops requires compassion, perspective, and the willingness to see your past self as human rather than all-powerful. The key to breaking emotional loops is not forcing them to stop. That only intensifies them. The more you push against an emotional loop, the more your mind latches onto it. The way out is awareness. When you notice yourself entering a loop, gently label it. This is a loop. This is my mind trying to protect me. Naming the loop separates you from it. It turns it from an overwhelming emotional experience into a pattern you can observe. Observation weakens loops. It gives you distance. It allows you to choose what happens next instead of getting pulled under automatically. Another powerful strategy is redirecting your attention, not as avoidance, but as intentional grounding. Emotional loops pull you into the past or into imaginary scenarios. Grounding brings you back to the present moment, the only place where healing can occur. You can ground yourself through your senses, noticing your breath, touching something textured, observing the room you're in, listening to ambient sounds, or placing your hand over your heart. Each grounding moment interrupts the loop long enough to remind your mind that you are here, now, safe. Today's exercise is to identify your personal emotional loops. Sit with a pen and paper and reflect honestly. What thoughts or memories repeat themselves the most? What questions come back again and again? What moments does my mind replay without permission? Write down each loop, even if it feels uncomfortable. Seeing them on paper turns them into something you can work with instead of something that controls you. Once you've written your loops, choose one and ask yourself, what is this loop trying to give me? Every loop has a purpose, even if it's misguided. Some loops try to give you clarity. Some try to give you control. Some try to protect you from feeling something deeper. Some try to keep you connected to what you lost. When you understand the purpose of a loop, you can meet that need in a healthier way. For example, if a loop is trying to give you closure, you can practice acceptance instead. If a loop is trying to give you reassurance, you can cultivate self-trust. If a loop is trying to keep you connected, you can honor your memories without reliving the pain. Breaking emotional loops is not about eliminating thoughts from your mind. It is about choosing not to follow them each time they appear. With repetition, your mind will learn new patterns. Your emotional loops will become less gripping, less frequent, less consuming. Slowly, gently, you reclaim your mental space. As you end day 10, remind yourself that emotional loops are not signs of weakness. They are signs of attachment, meaning, and the mind's attempt to protect you. You are not broken for having them. You are human. And by choosing awareness, grounding, and compassion, you are breaking the cycles that once kept you stuck. You are stepping out of the loop and into your life again. One conscious breath, one gentle interruption, one day at a time. Day 11. Releasing guilt. Guilt is one of the heaviest emotions that follows loss. It clings to the heart, wrapping itself around your choices, your memories, and even your identity. Guilt convinces you that you should have known better, done better, loved better, reacted faster, predicted the future, or prevented the outcome. It whispers that everything might have been different if only you had acted differently. But guilt rarely tells the truth. Guilt is a storyteller, and its stories are woven from hindsight, fear, grief, and impossibly high expectations of yourself. Today is about understanding guilt, questioning the stories it tells, and beginning the gentle work of releasing its grip. Guilt thrives in the space between what happened and what you think should have happened. It is born from the belief that you had more control than you actually did, more foresight, more power, more emotional resources, more clarity. But the truth is this: you are judging your past self using a level of awareness that only exists now, after the loss. This is fundamentally unfair. No one can make yesterday's decisions with today's wisdom. Yet guilt demands exactly that. It punishes you for not being the person you had no way of becoming until after you were shaped by pain. When you see this clearly, guilt begins to lose its authority. There are many forms of guilt, and naming them helps you see their patterns. There is action guilt, the belief that something you did contributed to the loss. There is inaction guilt, the belief that something you failed to do caused the outcome. There is emotional guilt, feeling guilty for how you felt at the time, wishing you had been more loving, more patient, more attentive, more brave. There is survivor guilt, wondering why you're still here while the life you wanted is not. There is timing guilt, the belief that you should have said or done something at a different moment. And there is identity guilt, the quiet voice that says, maybe I wasn't enough. Each form of guilt has its own language, its own rhythm, its own way of tightening around the heart. But every form of guilt shares one thing. It is based on the illusion of control. Guilt assumes you had the ability to alter the outcome. It assumes you could have predicted the future. It assumes everything depended on your choices. It ignores circumstances, timing, other people's decisions, information you did not have, emotional states you could not change, and the countless external factors that shape every moment of life. Guilt simplifies a complex reality into a single accusation. This is your fault. But life is never that simple. You were one part of a much larger story, one that did not unfold solely because of you. To release guilt, you must first question it. Guilt is powerful because it feels like truth. But when you ask the right questions, its foundation begins to crumble. Ask yourself, is my guilt based on facts or feelings? Was I truly responsible for the outcome? Or am I taking responsibility for circumstances I couldn't control? Am I judging my past self unfairly? Am I assuming I had more awareness than I did? Am I expecting perfection from someone who was hurting, confused, or simply human? These questions are not meant to erase your experience. They are meant to bring you back into reality. One of the most compassionate truths you can embrace is this: your past self acted with the awareness, strength, perspective, and resources they had at the time. If you had been capable of doing more, you would have. If you had known more, you would have acted differently. If you had been less afraid, more healed, more supported, more confident, you would have shown up in a different way. But you were not that future version of yourself. You were the person you were then, imperfect, emotional, trying your best within limits you didn't choose. The expectation that you should have done better is not fairness, it is self-cruelty. Another important truth is that guilt often masks deeper emotions. Sometimes guilt is a way of holding on to connection, because blaming yourself keeps you emotionally close to what you lost. Sometimes guilt is a way to avoid feeling helpless, because it's easier to blame yourself than to acknowledge how little control you actually had. Sometimes guilt is a way to avoid grief, because focusing on your mistakes distracts you from the deeper pain of the loss itself. Understanding what your guilt is protecting you from can help you release it with compassion rather than force. Today's exercise is one of the most healing you'll do. Write down everything you feel guilty about related to your loss. Don't filter it. Don't rationalize it. Don't judge it. Let it all pour out. The big things, the small things, the things you've never said out loud, the things that make you emotional just thinking about them. Once it's on paper, you are no longer carrying it silently inside you. When you're done, read each sentence slowly and ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Was I truly in control of this? 2. Did I have the awareness or resources to do differently at the time? 3. Am I judging myself harshly? In the second section, write what you need today. Not the long-term needs, just today's needs. You may need rest, quiet, comfort, connection, space, clarity, or time in nature. Needs change daily. By acknowledging them, you create an inner dialogue rooted in respect. In the third section, reflect on the parts of yourself you miss, qualities, habits, feelings, or parts of your identity that grief overshadowed. Maybe you miss your creativity, your confidence, your optimism, your laughter, your spontaneity, your motivation, or your sense of purpose. Missing these parts is not failure, it's awareness. And awareness is the beginning of reconnection. In the final section, write what you want to reclaim, not all at once, not perfectly, but gradually. Maybe you want to reclaim your joy, your self-respect, your boundaries, your passions, your dreams, your calm, your strength, your voice. These desires are not pressure. They are invitations from the deepest part of yourself. As you write, allow yourself to feel whatever arises. Reconnection is emotional. You might feel sadness for the distance you felt from yourself. You might feel hope because you sense the possibility of return. You might feel gratitude for the clarity emerging within you. All of it is valid. All of it is part of healing. Reconnecting with yourself is not about becoming who you were before the loss. It is about becoming fully present with who you are now. You are not returning to an old version of yourself. You are coming home to a wiser, deeper, more compassionate version, one shaped by experience, strengthened by pain, and grounded in truth. As you close day 19, place a hand on your heart and gently acknowledge, I am reconnecting with myself, slowly and honestly. I am learning to listen to my needs, honor my emotions, and trust my inner wisdom. I am coming home to myself. Tomorrow, you will continue this rebuilding process by creating healthy daily rituals that support your healing and strengthen your sense of self. Day 20. Building healthy daily rituals. Healing is not created in dramatic moments. It is built quietly, steadily, through the small actions you repeat each day. After loss, life can feel unpredictable and unstable. Your emotions shift rapidly. Your energy rises and falls in ways you can't always explain. You may feel disconnected from routine or overwhelmed by the simple responsibilities of daily life. In times like these, daily rituals become anchors. They offer structure when everything feels uncertain. They create moments of stability when the world feels shaky. They reconnect you to yourself and your healing through simple, intentional practices. Today is about building rituals, not perfectionistic schedules, but gentle routines that support your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Rituals are different from habits. Habits are actions you repeat automatically, often without intention. Rituals are actions you choose deliberately because they bring meaning, grounding, or comfort. A ritual could be a morning practice, an evening reflection, a small moment of stillness, or a simple gesture that communicates self-care. These rituals don't need to be elaborate. They don't need to be time-consuming. They only need to be consistent enough to remind your mind and heart that you are safe, supported, and moving in the right direction. After loss, everyday life can feel fragmented. Tasks that once came easily may feel heavy. Concentration may be inconsistent. Motivation may flicker. This is normal. Grief drains your mental and emotional energy, leaving you with less capacity for planning, organizing, or managing. Daily rituals help you reclaim a sense of agency by giving you small, achievable actions you can rely on. Even one simple ritual, like taking a slow breath before getting out of bed or writing one line in a journal at night, can create a foundation of stability. These rituals are not about productivity. They are about nourishment. A healthy ritual often begins with grounding. Grounding rituals bring you back into your body, your breath, and the present moment. You might place your hand on your heart upon waking. You might stretch your body gently. You might drink a glass of water slowly, feeling the temperature and the movement. You might sit for one quiet minute before checking your phone or starting your day. These grounding rituals tell your nervous system, you are safe. You are here. You are allowed to slow down. Grounding stabilizes the mind and creates emotional space before the day fully begins. Another category of rituals is emotional rituals, intentional moments that help you process your feelings without becoming overwhelmed. Emotional rituals could include journaling for a few minutes each day, checking in with yourself by asking, "How do I feel right now?" or engaging in a brief meditation or breathing exercise. You might choose a specific time each day where you allow yourself to feel whatever arises, without judgment. Emotional rituals help prevent suppression and create healthy pathways for emotional flow. There are also connection rituals, small acts that reconnect you with yourself or with others in meaningful ways. A brief walk outside where you notice the sky, a message to someone you trust, listening to a song that comforts you, sitting with a warm drink and letting your mind settle. These rituals remind you that even in grief, connection is possible. You don't have to be socially on. You just need small, honest touches of connection that help you feel part of the world again. One often overlooked form of ritual is rest. Rest is not laziness, it is healing. After loss, your emotional system works overtime, processing memories, reorganizing your identity, and navigating fluctuating emotions. Rest rituals could include going to bed a bit earlier, allowing yourself to take short breaks throughout the day, or giving yourself permission to pause when your body feels tired. Rest rituals reduce the pressure to keep going and help you treat yourself with compassion. Another category is inspiration rituals, practices that gently expand your mind, lift your mood, or remind you of life outside grief. Reading a paragraph of a meaningful book, writing one sentence of gratitude, watching something calming, lighting a candle, listening to a peaceful playlist. These rituals bring small sparks of light into your day, not by forcing positivity, but by inviting moments of calm and hope. Today's exercise is to create your personal ritual plan. Choose 3 daily rituals, simple, gentle, meaningful, that you will commit to for the next week. One should be grounding, one should be emotional, and one should be nourishing or connecting. For example, grounding ritual, 1 minute of deep breathing each morning. Emotional ritual, writing one honest sentence in your journal each evening. Nourishing ritual, a 10-minute walk every afternoon without distractions. Your rituals should be realistic. If your ritual is too demanding, it will become another source of pressure. Choose rituals that feel kind, achievable, and comforting. These rituals are acts of self-love, not obligations. As you begin practicing these rituals, you may notice that your mind resists at first. This is normal. Grief disrupts routine, and your brain may be accustomed to emotional overload or avoidance. But with consistency, rituals become signals of safety. They gradually shift your internal world, creating spaces of calm where healing can take root. You may notice that your mood becomes more regulated, your thoughts less chaotic, your body more relaxed. Rituals don't eliminate grief. They give you strength to move through it. It's important to remember that rituals are flexible. If your emotional needs change, your rituals can change too. There is no right ritual, only the one that supports you today. You might find that some rituals bring unexpected comfort, while others feel less necessary over time. Trust yourself. You know what nourishes you. You know what drains you. You know what helps you stay grounded, even if you're still discovering it. As you close day 20, place a hand over your heart and acknowledge this simple truth. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It happens in the small choices you make each day. I am building rituals that support my well-being, honor my emotions, and ground me in my healing. Tomorrow, you will continue the rebuilding process by learning how to rewrite your personal narrative, the story you tell yourself about who you are and what your life has become. Day 21. Rewriting your personal narrative. Every person carries a personal narrative, an internal story that explains who they are, where they've been, and what their experiences mean. This narrative shapes identity, self-worth, resilience, and the choices you make. It influences the way you interpret events, the way you relate to others, and the way you imagine your future. After loss, this narrative often becomes fractured or distorted. You may begin to see yourself through the lens of pain. You may tell yourself that you are broken, unlucky, unworthy, or permanently changed in a damaging way. Loss has the power to rewrite your story, but today, you begin reclaiming the pen. Your personal narrative is not simply the facts of your past. It is the emotional meaning you assign to those facts. Two people can experience similar losses, but tell themselves entirely different stories. One may say, "This destroyed me." The other may say, "This shaped me." Neither story erases the pain, but one opens the door to growth while the other locks the door and swallows the key. Your narrative matters. It has the power to build you. Another essential part of opening the heart is allowing yourself to feel positive emotions without guilt or fear. After loss, positive emotions can feel foreign, even disloyal. You may feel guilty for laughing, for enjoying something, for feeling a spark of curiosity or excitement. You may fear that feeling good means forgetting the past or betraying what you lost. But joy does not erase love. Peace does not erase memory. Happiness does not erase meaning. The heart is capable of holding grief and hope at the same time. Reopening your heart means giving yourself permission to feel both. You may also fear that reopening your heart will make you vulnerable to more loss. This fear is valid. Pain teaches the heart caution. But part of healing is accepting that vulnerability is not the opposite of safety. It is the foundation of connection, meaning, and love. A life without vulnerability is a life without depth. You cannot fully live with a closed heart. You cannot fully connect, experience, grow, or feel. The goal is not to eliminate vulnerability, but to choose it wisely, knowing you have the resilience to handle what comes. Today's exercise will help you reconnect with your heart gently. Take a moment and sit quietly. Place one hand on your heart. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Ask yourself this question: what does my heart need right now to feel safe enough to open? Listen without judgment. Your heart might say, I need rest. I need kindness. I need patience. I need honesty. I need stability. I need time. I need more connection. I need to go slow. Whatever arises is your truth. Write it down. These are your heart's requirements, its boundaries, its conditions for returning to openness. Next, ask yourself another question. Where in my life do I feel a small spark of openness already? It could be a person you trust, a new habit, a place that makes you feel grounded, a passion or interest resurfacing, a moment of peace you felt unexpectedly, a desire you didn't think you'd feel again. These sparks are signs that the heart is already beginning to thaw. They deserve your attention. Reopening the heart also means practicing emotional presence. When you feel something, anything, acknowledge it without pushing it away. Even if the emotion is small, even if it feels unfamiliar. Emotional presence teaches the heart that it is safe to feel. You might feel tenderness, warmth, sadness, excitement, longing, gratitude, or the first flickers of love, for yourself, for life, for someone new, or for something new. These emotions are not threats. They are evidence that your heart is alive. Another powerful dimension of opening your heart is reconnecting with compassion, not only for others, but for yourself. Compassion softens the walls around the heart. It encourages gentleness. It eases the self-judgment that often keeps the heart closed. When you speak to yourself kindly, when you forgive yourself, when you treat your healing with patience, your heart begins to trust you again. Self-compassion creates safety, and safety creates openness. You can also support the reopening of your heart by engaging in experiences that nourish you emotionally. These don't have to be dramatic. They could include listening to music that moves you, being in nature, journaling, connecting with someone you trust, practicing gratitude, or doing something creative. These experiences soften the emotional edges, giving your heart room to breathe. Openness is nurtured through softness, not force. It's important to remember that reopening your heart doesn't mean opening it to everything or everyone. It means opening it where it feels right, where it feels aligned, where it feels reciprocal and safe. You can open your heart while still protecting your boundaries. You can welcome connection without abandoning your healing. You can feel deeply without losing your discernment. Opening your heart is not all or nothing. It is gradual, selective, intentional. As you close day 29, place your hand on your heart once more and say softly, my heart is allowed to open again. Slowly, gently, wisely. I do not need to rush. I do not need to fear. I open not because I forgot the past, but because I am ready for what comes next. Tomorrow marks a powerful moment in your journey. Day 30, embracing forward motion, the final day, where you consolidate everything you've learned and step fully into the next chapter of your life. Day 30, embracing forward motion. Forward motion is not the end of grief, nor is it the moment you suddenly feel healed. Forward motion is the quiet decision to keep living with intention. It is the choice to continue growing, evolving, and expanding, even with the memory of what you've lost still held gently in your heart. Today marks the culmination of 30 days of deep inner work, of honesty, courage, emotional exploration, and profound self-awareness. You have walked through old memories, faced difficult truths, rebuilt your identity, nurtured resilience, and reopened your heart. Now you stand at the threshold of a new chapter, carrying both the wisdom of your past and the hope of your future. Embracing forward motion does not mean rushing ahead. It means taking your next steps with clarity instead of confusion, with intention instead of fear, and with self-trust instead of self-doubt. Forward motion is subtle. Sometimes it's a single decision. Sometimes it's a shift in perspective. Sometimes it's just a feeling, the quiet sense that you are no longer standing still. Healing does not ask you to run, it only asks you to move. You have already proven that you can. One of the most important truths about forward motion is this: you do not leave the past behind, you integrate it. Too many people believe that moving forward means forgetting, abandoning, or minimizing what mattered. This is false. You can move forward while honoring your past. You can hold memories without being held back by them. You can cherish what you've lost while still embracing the possibilities ahead. Integration, not erasure, is the foundation of healthy forward motion. Your past becomes a chapter, not the entire story. Another essential aspect of forward motion is recognizing that you are not the same person you were before your loss. You have transformed. You are deeper now, more compassionate, more resilient, more self-aware, more discerning, more connected to your truth. This transformation is not the result of the pain itself. It is the result of your courage. Pain created the opening, but you walked through it. Pain revealed the cracks, but you filled them with wisdom. Pain challenged you, but you chose to rise. Forward motion honors this transformed version of you. As you step into this new chapter, it's natural to feel a mix of emotions: hope, fear, excitement, uncertainty, gratitude, sadness. All of them are valid. All of them belong. Forward motion is not a single emotion. It is a layered experience. You are allowed to feel joy and grief at the same time. You are allowed to feel nervous about the future while still moving toward it. You are allowed to miss what you lost while embracing what's ahead. Complexity is not a contradiction. It is part of being human. One of the most powerful realizations you can have at this stage is that forward motion is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. You create it through your choices, your actions, your mindset, your routines, your boundaries, your compassion, and your willingness to show up for yourself. Even the smallest acts, setting a boundary, taking a walk, speaking your truth, practicing self-care, become declarations of forward motion. Each step reinforces your identity as someone who is rebuilding, not retreating. Another essential truth is that you do not move forward alone. You move forward with every version of yourself that survived the difficult moments. You move forward with the love you gave, the lessons you learned, the truths you uncovered, and the resilience you built. You move forward with the parts of the past that still hold meaning. You move forward with your heart, wounded, healed, open, wise. Nothing within you is wasted. Everything has shaped the person you are becoming. Today's exercise is a powerful reflection designed to anchor your forward motion. On a sheet of paper, create 4 sections titled: 1. What I am leaving behind. 2. What I am carrying with me. 3. Who I am becoming. 4. How I will continue moving forward. In the first section, write the emotional patterns, fears, beliefs, or behaviors that you are ready to release. These might include self-judgment, emotional avoidance, guilt, unhealthy attachments, overthinking, or the belief that you are not enough. Leaving these behind is not denial, it is liberation. In the second section, write the qualities, memories, lessons, and strengths you want to carry into your next chapter. Write the wisdom you gained, the compassion you developed, the resilience you discovered. These are the treasures of your healing. They will guide you forward. In the third section, write who you feel yourself evolving into. You might write: I am becoming more grounded. I am becoming more honest with myself. I am becoming more confident. I am becoming someone who trusts life again. I am becoming someone who loves without losing myself. I am becoming whole. This section is the heart of your transformation. In the final section, write the actions, small or big, that will help you maintain forward motion. They might include continuing rituals that ground you, setting boundaries that honor your well-being, following the desires that ignite your spirit,